Have you ever had a trillion Robux? I know, right? That sounds crazy. Have you ever had a billion Robux or a million? I'm gonna be honest. The most Robux I've ever had on one account was 72 million Robux. And let's just say I felt like the king of the world. Now, it just so happened that there is a Roblox account on Roblox right now with 1 trillion Robux on it. And in today's video, we are going to be reacting to the guy who made a video about it. He goes by the name of Python. For those that don't know, I actually used to react to his videos a lot. Also, if you guys want to see more reaction videos and not steal a brain rock 24/7, get this video up to 10,000 likes. Anyways, let's watch this.
From people getting terminated off of Roblox to creating the largest game of all time. Today, we'll be looking at how these players went from nothing and made 1 trillion Robux.
Okay. Let's be real. Do y'all believe that anyone actually ever made 1 trillion Robux? Like, I think probably, dang. Like, wait, are we talking about like 1 trillion Robux? Like, do you understand how insane of a number that is? I'm on ChatGPT right now to see how much is 1 trillion Robux in actual money when it's DevX. All right, let's see what it says. Because bro, 1 trillion Robux, do you understand how insane that is? If you have 1 trillion Robux and you're cashing out via Roblox Corporation Developer Exchange Program, the current rate of USD is, what is that? 38. Okay. 38 cents. I don't know. Let's skip that. Let's go to calculations. 1 trillion times, okay, the 0.0038 is $3.8 billion. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be so serious. I don't believe anyone has ever done that. Okay. If someone has DevX'd 1 trillion USD, no, 1 trillion Robux, they are a billionaire. Has anyone came close? I don't even know. Okay, so let's just keep watching this, because what? How these players made 1 trillion Robux? What?
So successful, we need to look up these stories one by one, starting with Preston. Preston joined Roblox back in 2011 under the username SilverSwordGold2, and like most new players, he started small, just making games for fun. His earliest projects were simple sword fighting arenas and RPGs, but there was always a spark of creativity from Preston, and one of his first games he ever created was a game called Limited Tycoon, and for the first time, Preston showed he knew how to design gameplay, and over 2012 and 2013, he kept learning and kept experimenting. And by 2014, his skills had leveled up enough to catch the Roblox.
Okay, did he actually make 1 trillion Robux though? All right, guys, be honest. Did he actually make 1 trillion Robux though? Look, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think he made 1 trillion Robux. I met him in real life. I met Preston in real life. He's a cool dude, very chill. Actually, very chill and very humble. I'm not gonna lie. But 1 trillion? I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Community's attention. He launched Guest Defense and even made a sequel, but neither exploded in popularity. That is, until he dropped Giant Survival, a classic survival game where you survive as long as you possibly can while taking down massive monsters. And it was Preston's first real hit, pulling in over 40 million visits, which was huge for the time. But between 2015 and 2017, the magic started to fade for Preston, as he tried new ideas like King Clash, Gears Online, and Fortress, but none of them found the same success. Still, those failures became lessons for Preston, as it was able to help him refine his skills and sharpen his ideas. And in 2018, Preston made a big move by officially founding his own Roblox development group called Big Games. But Preston was aiming to build bigger projects under this new studio banner, which helped Preston focus and turn a game concept that would soon take over Roblox.
Okay, that's cool, but I want to see, did he actually make 1 trillion Robux though? All right, did he actually do a trillion Robux? Because that's what I'm really concerned about. Yo, guys, do you think it's possible to make 1 trillion Robux from dropping games on Roblox? If so, yo, 10,000 likes and I'm making my own game on Roblox.
A game about collecting pets and coins doesn't sound too revolutionary, but on launch day, it pulled 50,000 concurrent players, which for 2018 was astronomical. It became one of the most popular games of the year, winning a Bloxy Award for Mobile Game of the Year in 2019, and turned Big Games into a recognizable studio. And like most popular developers, he wanted to make another sequel, which is why he would release Pet Simulator 2, but sadly, players weren't as impressed as they were with the original. Updates were slow, interest was starting to drop, and Preston needed to pivot. That pivot came in the form of Big Paintball, which went up to 1.7 billion visits and won another Bloxy Award. And Preston proved that by creating games outside of his niche, he could still dominate despite everything, which is why he would come up with My Restaurant. In 2020, it proved to Preston that he could branch out and still dominate. It drew in hundreds of millions of visits, but deep down, he wanted redemption from Pet Simulator 2. And he wanted to make another Pet Simulator game to prove that that niche is his thing. And the result was Pet Simulator X, which became the most successful game in the Pet Simulator series, and arguably Preston's greatest ever game. The response was massive. On launch day, over 90,000 players were playing Pet Simulator X.
I remember the day this game dropped. And I remember someone talking about how much money he was making. And it was an insane amount of money, which actually made absolutely no sense to me. All right. Considering the fact that at that time, I didn't even think that type of money was possible, especially for someone that old. Because me and him are the same age. I just didn't think it was possible, but it was, clearly. Yeah, I mean, 1 trillion Robux? Clearly it's gotta be possible, bro.
And as time went on, Pet Simulator X only grew bigger. And in 2023, Pet Simulator X would reach an all-time concurrent player record for themselves, as they got over 1 million people to play at one singular time.
Wait, was that the first Roblox game to hit 1 million players CCU? Cause what?
One of the highest peaks in Roblox history back then. And Pet Simulator X was able to amass over tens of billions of visits and was on top of everything. But he wanted to start fresh. And rather than resting on the success of Pet Simulator X, Preston continued to push forward with new projects and sequels, which is why in late 2023, Big Games would unveil Pet Simulator 99, the next chapter of the Pet Sim.
That was in 2023? What the heck? I thought that was last year. Bro, time be flying so fast. That was in 2023?
The game did incredibly well. Even if it didn't quite reach the stratosphere that Pet Simulator X got, it still ended up doing incredible. And within the first year and a half, Pet Sim 99 would accumulate over 2 billion visits and maintain tens of thousands of active players. It solidified that the Pet Simulator brand remained extremely popular on Roblox. In fact, with over 2 billion plays, Pet Simulator 99 still ranks among the top 100 most visited games on Roblox, and Preston had successfully kept the series alive. And engaging for new and older players, he wanted to release even more games related to their series, which is why he would release Pets Go, which was an RNG game and kind of traced back to his original roots with his first ever couple games. But in 2025, Preston would shock everyone as he decided to step down from Big Game Studios.
Wait, aren't we in 2025 right now? Bro, wait, this is low-key kind of crazy. Like, when a game has billions of place visits, how much money is that? Like, I'm kind of curious. Like, how much Robux is that for a game to have billions of place visits? Like, Steal a Brain Rot has 43 billion place visits. How much money is that? Like, how much Robux does Sammy have? Like, or in that group, he probably has 1 trillion Robux. There's no way, right? There's no way. There's no way. That's $3.8 billion though. Bro, there's no way. All right, let's just keep watching. Let's keep watching.
A lot of people, as he was already doing incredible on the platform, but he made his decision final and handed over the active development and management to his team, who remains as the founder and owner in the background, which kind of is a good way to end his story. But imagine starting off with nothing and making it to the masses, as this next story is one of the craziest stories I've ever seen on Roblox. Jandel was just your average Roblox player, and back when Roblox was still using old textures and was a much smaller community, Jandel was fascinated with the fun and goofy culture of Roblox and would play Roblox for some time, but unfortunately, he would quit. See, early Roblox wasn't as easy to enjoy as it is now. I'm not saying the old games were bad, but they were a bit worse to play, and for a while, Jandel would spend his time in other games like Minecraft and League of Legends.
How does he know this? How does how does he know that Jandel would play League of Legends and Minecraft? Like, how do you know this type of information?
Nothing would pull him back. By then, Jandel had quietly been learning the art of game development. His earliest creations were small passion projects, nothing groundbreaking, but they taught him the fundamentals of scripting, building, and design.
Okay, wait. Okay, with the success of like Grow a Garden and how big Grow a Garden like popped off, do y'all think Jandel made 1 trillion Robux? No. Wait, why am I even at? There's no way, right? Am I tripping? Like, do y'all think he made a trillion Robux? Be honest.
And he learned it all through trial and error. And over the years, he would progressively get better and better. But in 2017, everything changed. During this period, Jandel was just living his life, casually sitting at a coffee shop, when out of nowhere, he got a message from a friend saying,
"Hey, want to come to my party?"
Hold on. How does he know he was at a coffee shop? What?
Yeah, sure, okay.
Okay, it wasn't really like that. But basically, Jandel attended a friend's party, which ended up having some very talented developers. And during this party, Jandel and some of his friends decided that they should make their own studio, which is now known as Splitting Point, which in the future would be the most crucial decision he would ever make on Roblox. As when 2017 rolled around, Jandel was still by himself in terms of making games, and he would release games of his own, like Bed Wars and It Clown, as these games were very solid for its time, and the games would rack up millions of visits, which for Jandel was huge, because it went from being 100% passion to, wait, there's a chance I can make a career out of this. 2018 was solid for Roblox, and it saw developers like Jandel start creating more games, and that's when Jandel finally decided to take his group seriously.
Didn't he have a Dusty Trip? If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I've seen him with like that game Dusty Trip,
and which would pump out a few FPS games, with the first one being a game called Fray. But he would also make games outside of FPS games, as he would start working on a new game called BattleBots, and things were starting to look up for Jandel. But 2019 would be one of the craziest years for Jandel, as he would create so many games that I could probably make another video explaining every single one of them. But to summarize the best I can, he would make Splitting Point his main focus, and he would pump out dozens of games, with each of them having very similar amounts of success, which was sensational for not just Jandel, but the entire team surrounding Splitting Point.
Wait, so I didn't know he made so many games. Truthfully, I just thought he was like, I know like a lot of these game developers who are popping now have been doing it for years. Like understanding like Sammy and how Sammy's been doing like game development for years before he had like crazy success, even though he's like one of the hardest working game developers on the platform. It's just crazy though. It's crazy. I didn't know personally that Jandel that like had all these other games. That's kind of interesting. All I know is I remember seeing him pop out like with that Dusty Trip, and I remember that was crazy, and then Grow a Garden, which was even more insane.
This was a step in the right direction for them, and they were now—
But did that make a trillion Robux though? Like out of all those like I'm actually very curious, like out of all these games that these developers made, like has anyone actually made a trillion Robux?
Starting to see results. And most developers would no longer make games for passion and cash out, but Jandel was not like most people, as he would end up having more passion than ever, as he would create a game which ended up being infamous, as he would collab with the biggest Roblox YouTuber at the time, Flamingo, to create a game called Survive Albert, which ended up doing incredibly well and further helped Jandel's popularity, and things would only get better. 2020 would be the biggest year for Jandel's resume, as Jandel's true breakthrough came during the pandemic, as he and his team would create Field Trip Z, a story game about a high school field trip which turns into a zombie apocalypse. Field Trip Z drew tens of thousands of concurrent players and even saw more than 45 million unique players.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of crazy because most of these games I actually remember. Like now that we're like talking about these games, I remember seeing some of these games pop off. But it's just crazy. I didn't know what the heck?
2020 alone, as Jandel would push updates every single week at the height of the game's popularity, and with the relentless content schedule, it kept players coming back and demonstrated Jandel's work ethic, which helped Splitting Point get nominated for Creator of the Year at the 8th Annual Bloxy Awards. And by 2021, Jandel had transformed his strategy when it came to development. As with Field Trip Z's revenue, he would start to use a familiar strategy for Roblox game development, as he would start reinvesting his money into other Roblox games. And the first two tests for him was his co-creation of Wacky Wizards, which was designed as an open-ended social sandbox for players, and it was a game about combining ingredients to brew crazy potions, and it ended up becoming one of the more popular games of 2021. But to keep the momentum, Jandel committed to weekly content updates for Wacky Wizards, and for over a year, he would add new potions, ingredients, and events every single week.
Personally, I've never heard of Wacky Wizards, nor have I ever played of it. That's kind of crazy though. I didn't know that. Dang, okay.
Premium ingredients that boosted the game's monetization, which for Roblox was an easy way to push out his game. And these frequent updates kept players coming back and would be one of Jandel's greatest accomplishments of 2021. But with new fame and lots of money, Jandel began acquiring existing Roblox games to expand his empire. His Roblox group, Jandel Games, purchased popular titles such as Rage Runner, as well as a trivia game called Deadly Decisions, ensuring that his influence was spread across multiple genres, which undoubtedly helped Jandel grow his empire to over 25 games during this period, and helped him earn millions.
Okay, owning 25 games on Roblox, that sounds insane. Like 25 games that are actually doing good is insane. That might be a way of getting to a trillion Robux. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of crazy though.
Recognized as a big Roblox developer, but he wanted to go even bigger. Notably, he and his team developed Rolling Thunder, a squad-based shooter game in 2022, as part of Roblox's Game Fund program. And with Rolling Thunder, it pushed the boundaries of technology on Roblox, which helped them earn a nomination for Best Use of Tech, which showed that Jandel was trying to advance what was possible on Roblox, which was huge because most developers weren't going this length to make something great. And by the end of 2022, Jandel had amassed an unbelievable resume, multiple Bloxy awards, multiple nominations of Bloxy awards, billions of visits across his games, and an unbelievable amount of wealth. Jandel truly made it as a Roblox dev. But in 2023 and 2024, things would ramp up. Although Jandel was still purchasing more games to put under his groups, he didn't heavily focus on just buying games and seeing what happens. He wanted to focus on pushing his games to their fullest potential, as games like Steep Steps and A Dusty Trip became some of the most popular.
Wait, what? He created Steep Steps also? What? I remember. Bro, okay, wait, did he create that or did he buy into that? Because Steep Steps was actually very popping on TikTok. I remember that. That started getting popping on TikTok like crazy. What the heck?
Of all time. And what he and Splitting Point did across the 7 years they've been around is very special. But little did they know that 2025 would be their year, as they would end up creating history on Roblox. As Jandel was just looking on Roblox when he saw a game that looked very interesting, as he saw a game called Grow a Garden, and he thought this game had unbelievable amounts of potential to go viral. So like he has done for many years, he contacted the creator of the game, at the time Lux, and bought it off of him to have creative control over the game. And with Lux accepting the offer, Jandel and his team got to work. And what happened in the span of a few months is honestly the most insane thing I have ever seen in my entire career making these kinds of videos.
Grow a Garden has one of the craziest success stories in the history of gaming.
Grow a Garden's player count was climbing to unsustainable levels.
They broke the record for the most concurrent players at once.
This has never been done before in the history of Roblox.
Bro.
Me showing that montage is honestly not even worth the amount of popularity and hype this game received. It managed to peak at nearly 22 million.
How much Robux y'all think he made that day? How much Robux y'all think he made that day, bro? Bro, because I done heard some crazy stories about the amount of money that Blade Ball alone was making. Like Blade Ball made on like some of their update days. I heard some crazy story about the millions of dollars that they made in one day off of Blade Ball. So like, how much money y'all think they were making? Oh my gosh. How much money y'all think they made this day? And it's not like their monetization in Grow Garden was bad either. Their monetization was kind of insane. So, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I think they probably made some great, I don't know, bro. They made a lot of money.
Current players. What? To put that in perspective, a Roblox wiki noted it's roughly equivalent to the entire population of Taiwan logged in at one single time to play Grow a Garden. It broke every record in the book.
What?
But the most impressive thing was the all-time concurrent player record, because the previous record for most concurrent players was 3 million by Bloxfruits. This game broke that by nearly 10x. I mean, that is just so unbelievable. Like, it shouldn't even be possible, but it happened. And Grow a Garden rocketed to the 5th most visited game on Roblox.
Whoa. After all of the success of Grow a Garden, and it's still the 5th most visited place. It's not even the 2nd, the 3rd. It's the 5th? Bro, what the heck?
Going to be the most visited game on Roblox. But as much as he succeeded, there is another dev who is hands down the richest Roblox player of all time.
Bro. A dev richer than Jandel after all the success of Grow Garden? I doubt it. I'm gonna be honest. What? Like, coming close would be Sammy, or probably more than Jandel, like the same? Who?
Why we need to talk about Doobig. Doobig has been creating Roblox games
Okay, that's
for many
true.
years.
Okay, wait, that's true. That's actually true. Okay, that right there is true.
Doobig account. He had an earlier name called Tremedy, and under that old account, he developed a game called Adopt and Raise in 2014. However, the Tremedy account was later terminated in 2017, which gave him early experience and gave him a taste of game development on Roblox. And even though it ended abruptly, he took a little break up until the pandemic, where Tremedy will return to Roblox under a new name called Doobig, and he officially founded a company called Doobig Games, which was later rebranded as Doobig Studios. And right away, he started creating his own games. His first Roblox game as Doobig was Hospital Life, and its launch marketed the start of his journey. A few months later, he launched Speedrun Simulator, as these games helped establish Doobig's presence on the platform, and Speedrun Simulator in particular was successful enough that he eventually sold it to another studio. But by the end of 2020, Doobig had proven himself as both a game creator and an emerging studio owner. And Doobig, realizing that, he decided to make games that would help other developers.
Is that me? The freak? Wait, I just saw me.
He decided to make games that would help.
That's my Roblox avatar. What the? Wait, wait, that's literally me right there. Bro, look at, that's literally, that's funny, bro. What the heck? All right, let's keep watching.
Other developers, which was a genius strategy for Doobig's team. And instead of making his own stuff, why not just help others? And Doobig finally got his first major deals in 2021 and 2022, when Doobig quietly acquired a popular experience called Clicker Simulator. Doobig Studio took over the development and marketed the game to help it grow even more. And after some time, once again, Doobig would sell the game to another studio, and the game eventually went to private.
How does he know that they were buying games and then selling them? Where did he get this info from? That's actually kind of crazy.
The pattern of finding a promising game, improving it, and sometimes passing it on became the Doobig business strategy, which was genius at the time because no one did it. And by 2023, Doobig Studios was growing at an unbelievable pace. They started having some of the best high-profile game acquisitions of the year, as they would acquire Race Clicker, Sword Fighter Simulator, and the incredible game Blade Ball. These games were already hits on the platform, some of them having tens of thousands of players, but bringing them under Doobig Studio helped them reach even more players, specifically Blade Ball, as the game would end up having over 5 billion visits in 2025.
Bro, the amount of money I heard that Blade Ball was making is just insane. So like, knowing that this is just one of the games that he was acquiring, bro.
It became the biggest game on Roblox,
That's
and they
insane.
monetized the hell out of it. But Doobig had already started moving on to other games, and in 2024, they would continue expanding their portfolio by partnering in other games, as their most infamous game became Bish, a serene fishing and exploration game that had quickly become the most popular game on Roblox in 2024. Bish was officially acquired by Doobig Studios, and unlike most of their deals, they were able to take over creative control, and Doobig monetized it so much to the point where Fish unfortunately went from being the biggest game on Roblox to now under nothing. And another title that Doobig would pick up in 2024 was A Dusty Trip, which ironically was from Jandel, who also bought stake in the game, as Doobig would help the game reach over 1 billion visits, and they would even acquire Baddies, which is another game that obviously went viral. But in 2025, everything would change.
Bro,
Doobig
what?
would expand their empire to games that had more potential. And just like Jandel, Doobig wanted to use that strategy to their advantage, which is why they would acquire Steel of Brainrot in partnership with a developer named Spider Sammy. This game went viral. The game became almost as big as Grow a Garden.
Almost. Wait, didn't it pass Grow a Garden? Am I tripping? Did it not pass Grow a Garden?
It was unbelievable. And in mid-2025, Doobig officially took the reins as the richest Roblox player of all time.
Insane.
But as much as these people dominated the Roblox market and made so much money, there are more people just like them that have unbelievable stories that even I would love to know. So like and subscribe if you want more videos like this.
That was a W. Y'all let me know down below. Do y'all think that those 3 developers are the richest game developers? And if not, do you think that there's anyone richer than them? I know I've seen people who have accounts that have like millions of Robux on it and no one knows who they are. But I don't know. Y'all let me know down below in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you're new to the team. Supreme team, by the way. Supreme team. And I'm out, guys. Bye.